Well, good morning. Today is Saturday, January 25th, and we're going to go over our weekly highlight. It is tracking, tips, and tricks. So, we'll start off with the bad news. As much as I was hoping to have a loss every week in January, I had a 1.1 gain today, so I'm 227.6 with a 76.6 loss. I attribute my gain to I ate out 2 nights in a row, although I did track and pre-tracked before I went to my restaurants, and I chose wisely considering how I've chosen in the past. I do feel that this was a sodium gain. There's a lot of preservatives in things. I did choose wisely. I did have 0-point meals earlier in the day to compensate for the points. I never went over my 23 points either day. So I just know that the scale is kind of reflecting not a true weight. But you know what? Some weeks I might have a better loss and not really deserve that. So you have to take the good with the bad. So or take the bad with the good, any way you want to look at it. I'm disappointed. I even put, what? I really went to the meeting today thinking I was going to have a small loss. I thought I was going to lose like 0.3 or 0.4. I really did think that, but it didn't happen. But disappointed, yeah, but not discouraged. I'm not discouraged. I'll have a loss next week. I know that. But let's talk about the card. Is the weekly meeting is tracking tips and tricks. We asked our Weight Watcher coaches around the globe for the inside scoop on how members make tracking easier, and they all had the same answer. These are the 3 main things that they say. Not 3, 6 rather. 6 tips that they use. Number 1, make your best guess. I went out to eat and I did try to track. The one restaurant I went to was in the app rather, at Red Robin, and I chose a 9-point dinner. I think I had a total of 19 points for the day. That was on Wednesday. When I went on Thursday I went to a local restaurant that I wasn't listed in the app. I tried to adjust it as well as I could. I tried to build a meal knowing what I was going to have, and I think it was like an 11 or 12 point dinner. So I was right at my 23 points on Thursday. But I could have just went in there and just willy-nilly and ordered whatever I wanted. But no, I did my best guess. Maybe I figured a little bit light, and that's why I gained my weight this week. But I once a month go out to eat twice in 1 week because it just falls that way. One day I go out with my siblings for dinner, and then the one night I go out with our couples for dinner. And it just happens to fall that it's always the same week. If I have a gain that week, I'm just going to attribute it to the fact that I went out to eat. I'm going to stay within my points. I'm going to track what I'm going to eat. I'm going to have a good time and enjoy myself, and just know this is part of my life. And I'm not going to not go and have a good time, and I'm not going to go and deprive myself of something that I really want to eat just to keep from losing or gaining a pound. I know that I'm going to get back on track, and I have 3 more weeks to kind of build up a loss to make up for if I have a slight gain when I eat out that day. Number 2, plan ahead, which is what I did. If you're excited for an upcoming meal, track it early to see how you can fit it into your daily and weekly budget and how many rollovers you may need. That's exactly what I did. I tracked it in my book. I showed it on my daily vlog. I showed people what I was going to have and how I tracked it ahead of time. My gain is not because of my gain probably is because I ate out because of the sodium, but it's not because of my food choices. It's just the fact of life that they use preservatives and sodium to preserve their food so it'll last longer. That's, like I could make the same thing at home and it wouldn't be as much sodium in it as it is when you eat out. Number 3, take advantage of your app. Debating on what to buy, use the barcode scanner or enable the microphone on your phone for the on-go tracking. I always use my scanner on my phone for foods, even when I'm grocery shopping. And I just love the app. I just think it's so helpful and it helps you out so much. Number 4, take a picture. If you can't track in the moment, snap a photo to remind you to enter what you ate later. I know that nobody likes taking pictures of their food. But you know what? There's so many people on Instagram and Facebook and all the social media that's always taking pictures of what they've ate and putting it up, and or what they've made, or whatever. And You don't need to tell people that you're going to track it later. You just say, oh, this is a pretty plate. I'd really like to, I'm going to try to duplicate this menu. I'm going to try to duplicate this dish. I want to show my friend what I had so that when they come here, they can order this too. People know you're on Weight Watchers anyhow, for the most part, and they're not going to think much of it. And if they're going to give you a hard time, but not playfully a hard time, just ignore them. Number 5, track with curiosity. It's okay to have a high smart points day or use more weeklies than you planned. You get an idea of what you want to change or what you would want to stay the same next time. I would have loved to have had a Coke, but I had an iced tea. I'll be honest with you, if I would have known I was going to have a gain this week, I probably would have ordered a Coke. But, I'm not going to go on the assumption I'm going to have a gain. I'm always going to go on the assumption I'm going to have a loss, and so I'm going to choose appropriately. And number 6, spot habits. Look for patterns in your tracking over time to learn what you want to keep doing and what you might do differently. I always like looking back, especially if I've had a good loss. I like to go back on that week and I kind of try to duplicate it again. Not right away the next week because it'd be kind of monotonous eating the same foods 2 weeks in a row, although I pretty much eat the same foods every day anyhow. But if you had a gain, you can go back and look and see, why did I have a gain? So I'm probably going to go back later on today and go back through my tracker last week, and maybe I wasn't as good as I thought I was. Maybe I slipped something in that I don't remember. Maybe I went shopping one day and had a donut and slipped it into my journal that I had a donut and I didn't track it or something. But that's why it helps to have a journal. I have a food journal and I have a personal journal. So I try to be honest in both of them. I'm definitely honest in what I show you, what I eat. And, in my own journal, it's just for my own information, so why do I have to lie? I can't lie to myself. I'll know I'm lying. So that's whatever. But the quote we had today was, every accomplishment starts with the decision to try. All you can do is try. Every day is a struggle. I realize that. But, every day you can get a little bit closer to your goal if you just try. That's all you got to do is try. You don't have to be successful every single day, but try to be successful as many times as you can. Always remember, track, track, track. I know that it seems like monotonous to keep tracking, and when you look at thinner people and they don't track what they weigh, what they're eating and all that, but obviously they figured it out. Maybe there might come a day when you won't have to track. I don't think that day will ever be coming for me. I need to track. I need to be accountable to what I'm eating. And if you track, it's the number one, no matter what plan you're on, keto, Jenny Craig, whatever. If you track what you eat and write it down, you're going to be more successful because you're more aware of what's going in your mouth and what you're eating. And tracking also makes you accountable to yourself. You don't need to be accountable to anybody but yourself. But it helps you to increase your awareness of what you're eating, when you're eating, why you're eating. Sometimes if I eat out of stress, sometimes I'll just put like a little S on it. And I know that means stress for me. It means that, you didn't necessarily want that particular food. You just ate it because you thought, it might make you feel better. It also makes you realize how much you're actually eating. If you have to say, I had a cup of peanut butter, who's going to eat a cup of peanut butter? But that just came into my mind. But if you're going to have to write it down and say it, later when you look at it, you're going to think, how did I eat a cup of that? It just knows. And it also lets you know how many smart points you're using, because after a while you know how many points the values are of things. But in the meantime, when you're starting off, it really helps you make aware. And always remember to commit and don't quit, because, we're all going to slip up along the way. We're all going to have gains. I just proved it. I had a 1.1 gain this week. But that doesn't mean I'm going to quit. I'm determined. This is my year. I know this is my year. This is a small setback. I'll admit it's a small setback, but it's not a major setback that's going to keep me from reaching my goal. That's never going to do it. When you track or you look at the point values of things, you can decide, is this really worth it? There's been many a time I would like I have a donut and I think, I'd like a second donut. But then I'm thinking, that one donut was 10 points. Do I want to really have another 10 points for a donut? Because the first donut really satisfied what I needed. The second donut is just to eat. And no, if you really think about it, it will. And when you decide what foods are worth it, then they can be into your favorites, and you can know that this is like well within my points. And even if it's a little bit more than my points, you can say, this is really worth it. if I just have like a 0-point breakfast just to have this, and it makes you more aware. And the way you perceive tracking and the way you actually track and your willingness to do it is really going to be successful. You can say, well, I'm going to track this. Yeah, it looks like about a teaspoon. And then write down it was a teaspoon. Well, if you actually measured it out and tracked it accurately, it might have been a tablespoon. And that's really going to make a difference in your points. So use your tools. I don't think I have always thought I've reached the point where I can look at something and say, yeah, that looks like about a cup. But then when I measure it out, I see that it's maybe a cup and a quarter. Well, you think it's only a quarter cup over. Well, that's extra points. That's extra points you weren't counting. You need to remember that. And be as accurate and honest as possible. And it's easy to forget small things that you might just eat. Like it might be like when you're cleaning up the table, there might be like an extra piece of, I'm trying to think of something, like a little scrap of bread, like the end of a bread, and you just pop it in your mouth. The cream you put in your coffee. Sometimes you go for a second helping and you don't track it. Your bites, licks, and tastes. I know when you're cooking, you have to taste a little bit to make sure it's coming along. At least any good chef is always tasting as they're cooking and or preparing. Just remember to track them. If you're going to just take a tiny little taste, that's fine. But if you take like a teaspoon every time you're tasting, those teaspoons add up. Like when you're making your sauce and you taste a teaspoon of the sauce. And maybe 1 teaspoon's not going to matter, but like you're going to add a little bit of salt, then you're going to take another teaspoon to taste it again, then you're going to add a little bit more of something else, and then those add up. You got to remember that. And you can't fool yourself by just not writing it down. Just because you didn't write it down doesn't mean it didn't go into your body. You have to remember that you have to track it, because your body's going to be the evidence when you go to trial on that scale, because the scale's going to say, well, I know you tracked that cupcake as 9 points, but I was really 12. You didn't fool anybody. You might have fooled yourself, but you sure didn't fool your body. Monitoring your progress with tracking will help you to strengthen your motivation and make you look at things and say, you know what, I really made a really good choice today. I really did make good choices. It builds your confidence too, because you think, you know what, I really was fine with just that 1 tablespoon of this or that 1 cup of that. It really was enough. I'm feeling pretty confident that I got this. I think I got a handle on this. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to reach my goal this year. I really am. I had a small setback. I keep bringing that up, I know, but it was a small setback, and I'm not going to let it affect me. When you track, it helps you to recognize and solve your problems and your patterns of behavior. If you really track every time you put some food in your mouth, and then write down next to it why you ate it. Like I put breakfast, and I put that it was breakfast. I put lunch, I put that it was lunch. And I put snack, I put that it was a snack. But if you have too many snacks in the day, you can see that, why were you having so many snacks? Was it really because you were hungry, or was it some kind of stress reliever? And always think that it's your behaviors are a solvable problem, not a personal failure. It's a hard journey, and nobody's saying it's not, because if it was easy, everybody would be thin. Everybody wouldn't have a problem. And if there was a quick fix, somebody would have invented it by now. I know they're always working on something, but diet pills only work temporarily. You still got to learn how to eat the right way. Always remember, when you're tracking, either use the app on your phone or do it on a paper. I do both. I track on a paper. On a menu, I do a menu for the week. I track on that first. I transfer it to my book that I show you on my daily vlog. And then I always track it on my phone so I can get the points for the wellness things to get a prize or whatever, a gift at the end. Use the barcode scanner on your phone or your app, you're on your app, and it'll tell you the points. Track your weight by going to your weekly meetings. If you don't attend weekly meetings, weigh yourself every week at the same time, on the same scale, probably in the same placement on the floor, and with the same clothes, because then you're going to really get a consistent weight. Your weight can fluctuate in a day. You can weigh yourself like at 9 o'clock in the morning and then weigh yourself again at 10:30, and you'll weigh something entirely different. That's why it's always best to do it at the same time. What I like to try to do at my Weight Watcher meetings is to weigh on the same scale. It doesn't always work that way, but I do try my best to do that. And try to track your activity. I have fallen into the lazy pattern of not having much activity. I do a lot of walking all through the year except for winter. I'm looking forward to getting back to my water walking and my water aerobics in February. And just get back outside walking. The cold doesn't bother me. It's the ice and snow that gets me a little nervous. And always track the moment that you're eating. And if you can't track at that particular moment, like I said, take a picture of it and track it later on. But make sure the whole point is that you track everything you've eaten for the day. And be kind to yourself. Focus on the small little victories that you had. Don't focus on the bad, the failures that you had for the day. And don't really think of them as failures. Just think of them as missteps. Just know that, like you can always correct it at the very next meal. You're always back on track at the very next meal. If you've really blown the whole day, let's say, you just the whole day is completely shot. When you wake up the next day, it's a whole new day. Start again. You might have to do a little bit extra digging to make up for the big changes that you made the day before, but it's well worth it. Always use your barcode scanner, and what I like to do after I grocery shop is I mark right on the packages so that when I want something, I don't have to worry about looking it up. I just know. I'm looking for a snack. I only have 3 points. What can I have? And I go into my pantry and I look and I go through the boxes and the different things, and I can see what I can have for 3 meals. And then pre-track your meals if you can. Like I said, I do a weekly menu so I can get an awareness of what I'm going to eat for the week. And take advantage of all those 0-point foods because there's a lot of them. I don't care what plan you're on, you still get a lot of choices. So that's our meeting today, is tracking tips and tricks. The recipe is for a grilled cheese sandwich with pickles. It's 6 points on all 3 plans. I think I could bring that down a little, I'm thinking. 6 points for a grilled cheese sandwich seems high. But you know what? If you decided to have the grilled cheese, I love grilled cheese sandwiches though. But if you decided to have the grilled cheese sandwich for 6 points, just if the pickles are 0, have like a little side salad for 0. Squeeze a little bit of lemon on it for 0, and it's a filling meal then. So now I've talked myself into a grilled cheese sandwich. I might try this week. This might be my recipe of the week. I'm going to try to bring it down in points a little bit, but I think one day this week I'm going to make this my recipe of the week. So we'll see. Okay, that's about it for today. Once again, we're going to track, and I'm going to do better next week and have a loss. So give this video a like. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it if you think somebody might like to see it.